Okay, like I was saying, I watched this video last night and I was gonna do a side-by-side review of it, but I decided it was best to not do that because, to call someone out directly and see how they ignored your comments is interesting, because their particular channel started off reading from chatgtp a definition of spiritual bypassing. And then they said, it's all bullshit because you are Christ consciousness, which in itself is true. But to hold Christ consciousness consistently, you have to acknowledge the body and the pain the body contains and holds. Because you cannot hold a high frequency if you're not in tune with and balanced within the body. The body is a semi-solid and also liquid and gaseous container. When they talk about your crystal, they're talking about the several layers of physiological systems that you have that interplay, mostly made of water and also other elements, namely carbon and hydrogen, which is in water, but that's not the point. Nitrogen, and a lot of phospholipids, right? And so these create a really beautiful matrix if we could see with that divine eye. But what we see with our human eyes, that's a piece of gray hair, just, there's wisdom there. And so you can read all the books you want to on higher consciousness and Christ consciousness, but if you cannot face the fact that the inside reality mirrors the outer reality, then you are in denial, because Christ consciousness cannot be held fully on this plane when there are so many suffering. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about the lion getting the gazelle on the plane. I'm talking about humanity's energy frequency. We have so many people suffering and in delusion that when we hold the Christ consciousness, it becomes triggered and they want to justify the ego and the id and will do what is necessary to shake that off of you. That's similar to how people, we're going to call them white people for this general discussion, and black people. Now, this is a racial construct brought apart to separate and divide individuals, right? Because that's all definitions do, is they classify in order for the brain to feel acknowledged. Why? My stand is not up here, but I'm inspired to tell you about this. So this is what's happening. And I want to use my hands and my body. So this is where we're at. Okay, so when you are in a state of entering into the divine, right? And you're bringing God, Christ in you, and you have accepted it, right? And it's the saving grace of you, right? The saving grace of all of humanity, that compassion, that altruism. It doesn't mean it's non-violent, right? It doesn't mean that it's not going through whatever pain is stuck in the body, right? Because the body keeps the score. What it does mean is that it's time for you to learn how to feel the body. So parts of us in society have been told, don't feel your pain, da 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 da. Yes, in a divine, righteous way, this has been brought to you to help you understand the spiritual matrix better. But what you're going to find is, if you continue to ignore the body, which is my definition of spiritual bypassing, it's ignoring the body in order for a sacred state. And it's keeping it solely in the mind when divinity is within everything. There are times when you are free of pain. Now, when you are free of pain and you're entering into that holier state, can you sustain that? Can you also sustain it while you're in pain? Can you sustain Christ consciousness while you're being triggered? this is what my tool does. This is what the fascinator does. This is what getting into the body and embodiment does. And when you can actually hold that state of meditation and peace through agony and through even mirrored suffering, like if you're watching about what happened in the Middle East, if you're watching about what happens around us in places where people are tormented and hurting and not knowing how to express themselves except for hurting other people, these are the states that need to be cultivated. So when I see some video about spiritual bypassing that forsakes the body, they are not understanding that us understanding spirit means that we actually step into the body. We actually step into our holiness through whatever matrix we have created. And to loosen that up and to change the body keeping the score, you have to do some work. Yes, you can tell someone, I read it and I now have this state of consciousness, right? But it's not consistent. And the only way to hold it consistently and to keep the timing of it is to accept what is. Yeah, I think that is clear. So, and this is my video response. Now, I think I'm being too nice by not doing a side-by-side, because I really agree with the lady. But for her full-on denial, she said spiritual bypassing is bullshit. And I said, let's find out about this, because I'm a master shadow worker. I am divinely written. 9 nines come from me. I am divinely walked and divinely protected, and I see all of it. And I'm not going to deny it. I'm thankful for it. And I have to understand that the redirection is this way. So I'm going to pray about it and see if I'm supposed to do a side-by-side. Because I really don't like calling people out. But, I mean, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Because, yes, I know I could always be in a better state or better financial or, whatever. I'm not sitting at the table across from someone on their podcast making over 100K a year doing that just yet, but one day I will be, and I know that to be true. But the real question to me is, how do I fully integrate and bring heaven on earth? It's not denying the resistance to the information being told to me. It's making it more whole in its perspective. And yes, you can step from where you are directly into a new parallel universe that is that wealthy universe, or is that where you've lost weight, or you're feeling great, or you're with a specific person and manifesting blah blah blah. But really, I'm content and happy right here, right now. And I want that for everyone, to not have to feel like they're being attacked, to not have to feel the resistance to living life and being in their bodies. It's not all in the mind. It's not all in the heart. It's everywhere you are. And wherever you are, call back your pieces, call back your consciousness, and let yourself enjoy this moment right here. Well, this is, I'm growing 2 dreads. You guys don't have any idea. It's like a dinosaur. Love it. I love it. I love it. Anyway, have a great one. Till we meet again. Ciao.